In the book, you describe an incident where Brittany takes a knife, says she's scared, and locks you and herself into a room. Why did you want to include that in the book?
Brittany has come out and said that is a lie, and you are scum for putting it in the book. Way too big suit, and like I have to look at these shoulder pads for 16 more minutes. Oh, hello everybody, and today we're gonna be doing part 2 of the video I just posted. What are days, you know what I mean? Part 2 of Jamie Lynn Spears's 2-part appearance on Good Morning America. Now this is gonna be Nightline, same host, Juju.
I sat down with Jamie Lynn for a wide-ranging exclusive TV interview on everything from Brittany's conservatorship, her own mental health struggles, to how Jamie Lynn found her voice.
Her bestie, who's like apparently trying to like make all the housewives of America like feel bad and sorry for Jamie Lynn Spears so she can sell her flop book. I don't know. So it doesn't even seem to me like they're really trying to sell the book. It seems more like a Media Matters reputation rehabilitation effort, because it's just like full of lies. I mean, there's 4 different people that have come out who have been specifically mentioned in the book who have said these are lies, and we'll go over some of that stuff as well. So the second part of this video is going to actually be us looking at another interview that Jamie Lynn Spears did, not in these white shoulder pads, thank God, on like ET or E Hollywood or something. Access Hollywood, what's the difference? You know what I mean? They're all owned by the same people and they all just shill the same propaganda. So why is it that the things that should have said wasn't said at any point prior to right now? Why is it that the thing she should have said is actually something that she's making money off of? She could have done this for free. She could have said these things for free. She wants to make money off her sister's name. Also, one other thing we didn't forget, Juju, is that the book was called I Must Confess, which is a Britney Spears lyric. And honestly, I kind of wish she would have kept calling it that so Britney would have sued her. But to be honest, like Britney probably has enough legal action to pursue at this moment, so probably for the best. Let's see what we have going on here in the Nightline part of the Juju interview.
Spears says all the chaos and trauma of growing up Spears is something she long suppressed. It took a near fatal tragedy for her to confront some painful truths. I sat down with Jamie Lynn for a wide-ranging exclusive TV interview on everything from Brittany's conservatorship, her own mental health struggles, to how Jamie Lynn found her voice.
I feel like Juju got to be friends with Lou. It's just so disconnected from reality. Like Jamie Lynn, I have no problem believing Jamie Lynn Spears went through trauma. I have no problem believing that. But why is that what we're leading with instead of Jamie Lynn Spears talks about an ATV accident that her daughter got into, but doesn't tell you that the daughter wasn't even old enough to be driving the ATV, and also doesn't tell you that she used Brittany's money to buy the ATV. She didn't say that part. She just wants to talk about the trauma. And it's like, this is so biased. It's not news. It's a false narrative. I don't like that. Her own mental health struggles.
Her own mental health struggles.
Well, that implies, because you just said right before that, Brittany's conservatorship.
Everything from Brittany's conservatorship.
And then she says her own mental health struggles, right? Own. So what she's trying to do is juxtapose Brittany's mental health struggles with Jamie Lynn's, but that is inappropriate because Brittany has still never publicly been diagnosed with a damn thing, and it is absolutely inappropriate for Juju to be sitting here acting like, oh look, poor Jamie Lynn has mental health struggles, because the implication is Brittany has mental health struggles, and that is inappropriate and unacceptable for Juju to sit there and be speculating about
her own mental health struggles.
Because shut up, this has got to be Lou Taylor's suit.
To how Jamie Lynn found her voice.
Jamie Lynn found her voice and said any girl would die for you.
Any girl would die for.
Girl, find the note. Find the note.
Wrong.
Why do you think it makes you emotional still all these years later?
I just like thank God that I like, you know, I like thank God.
Why does she do this with this? It's not sympathetic. You look stupid.
And I stood up for myself and like said exactly what I wanted.
Y'all think she could have got her nails done for this interview? I don't know. Maybe that's the Southern in me coming out. Is that misogynistic? Comment below.
I went to Louisiana and I was in a nail shop.
Nails did. I would have gotten my nails done for the interview. I miss this era Jamie Lynn. Honestly, I was a 16-year-old Jamie Lynn stan. I think that the Jamie Lynn that she became after she got the nose job is when I stopped liking her. So the way that I remember it was that I found out she was pregnant through like OK Magazine. I knew with her being from Louisiana, I was living in Louisiana as well at the time because that's where I'm from. And like people around me, like what they were saying was like as if some like girl from my high school had got pregnant. It was like shamey. And to be honest, like, I don't think that was cool how people acted whenever she got pregnant. It was like totally predictable that would happen because that's what happens when you get this weird abstinence only sex education. I think that the media was way too hard on her as well as Britney. And that's about where my sympathy ends. Also, I feel bad for Jamie Lynn that she did grow up in a house with alcoholic and, you know, all of the trauma that can cause, right? I mean, everybody's situation is different, but I do actually feel for her that she had to go through that. That's about it. But after she got the nose job, I was no longer a stan. I don't know why it coincided that way, but like the pre-nose job Jamie Lynn, I was a stan. In my opinion, this book had been in the works before it was clear Britney was going to come out of the conservatorship. I think this book deal was probably signed at a time where no one thought Britney could ever get out of the conservatorship. And this was supposed to be, in my opinion, a re-up to make us all start talking again about how Britney was crazy. And that's why there's lies in there about Britney. Britney said it is a lie. I've been reading Jamie Lynn's book. The book, she does say that Britney Spears was erratic, paranoid, and she also tells this story about Britney Spears having a knife and picking up a knife, bringing her into this room and talking about being paranoid. Well, Britney came out on Instagram or on Twitter and said that is just fake. You are lying. Only a scum person would make up such a lie. But you know what? There is video, Britney didn't say this part, but there is video footage of Jamie Lynn Spears in a pita pit wielding a huge knife to break up a fight. I don't know what that was about. I really don't know, but there is video evidence of her with a huge knife chasing. So if you want to talk about knives, girl, don't talk about your sister bringing one into the bedroom because she's scared. Britney has every reason to be scared. Look at the freaking parasites who have entrapped her and imprisoned her and enslaved her. She has every right to be scared. Whenever all that stuff was going on with Lou Taylor, I was scared. I got paranoid. That's nothing wrong with that. That's a totally normal reaction whenever people are hunting you. But this bitch, whenever she was running through the pita pit with her butcher knife, that's not normal. Why you didn't write about that in your book, you psycho? Then Juju sitting there.
This is a baby having a baby, and in those moments, I just felt really...
People in Louisiana love that phrase, baby having a baby. Maybe if y'all taught your kids about sex education and protected, you know, what's it called? Protected sex. Maybe there wouldn't be babies having babies.
I just felt really alone.
Jamie, this way!
Spears says she grew up pretending that everything was perfect, even when it wasn't. As her family...
Okay, she had a pretty good life, let's be honest. Like at some point the sympathy ends. Like the people that are your fans were growing up with like not enough to eat and stuff, and you're sitting here sad because your mama's card got declined at the Limited 2. Shut up.
Did that happen?
Yeah, literally. I didn't make that one up.
As her family often focused instead on her world-famous sister Britney's turbulent life. You wrote, and I'm going to quote you, "The entire Spears team was already caught up in my sister's PR difficulties, and everyone around me just wanted to make the issue disappear."
And that's where she talks about Lou Taylor too in the book. Everyone was trying to make her resolve the pregnancy and termination. But Miss Lou stood up and took her defense and said, y'all can't make her do that. And then guess what Lou's alternative was? Sending her to Mercy Ministries, confirmed. Remember the last video? I said, I bet you it was Mercy Ministries allegedly. It was Mercy Ministries in Tennessee.
Go back to being the perfect little sister, because that's your role.
I know you see me standing.
As her sister's career reached the highest heights, Jamie Lynn had forged her own path to stardom on Nickelodeon. As the fight...
I loved this show. I'm so pissed she ruined this for me.
Before you guys put it in the time capsule?
I feel like Zoe was what I always wanted to be. I was just like every other teenager, very insecure about a lot of things about myself, but also trying to pretend like I was perfect, I guess.
But not everything was perfect. Behind the glitz and the glamour was profound anxiety, grappling with the pressures of fame and a chaotic family.
I've never shared anything.
Now 30,
Conservatorship.
mother of 2 daughters, says she's breaking the cycle by breaking her silence about her childhood traumas, her struggles with mental health, and the pressures of growing up Spears. In her new book, Things I Should Have Said.
It was really important to me to first off, honor my voice. I have to do it, or how else can I expect my daughters to stand up for themselves?
I'm halfway through the book and the voice ain't saying nothing. I mean, it's literally, she could have said in about 15 pages what it has taken her 100 pages to say, because she keeps repeating the same stuff over and over. I definitely don't think that Jamie Lynn Spears wrote very much of it in her own words. It's the same vibes as Lynn Spears' book. There's like this kind of overly academic, fancy writing style to it that I feel isn't authentic to someone from Louisiana, especially someone who's so gung-ho about being from Louisiana. Like, she's always posting about Louisiana things. Like, that is not how we talk. Now, some of us who actually got educations outside of the South, we learned a few different ways to speak. And I could have written, I probably couldn't have written that book because it sucks. I would not write a book that sucks. But the style, I mean, I could have probably done it, but to my knowledge, Jamie Lynn Spears has never attended one college writing class, so I don't know like where she would have gotten all these. I mean, I guess she could have been using Synonym on Microsoft Word, but it definitely has a stilted and kind of constipated writing style that's like very stuffy. It doesn't, if she's trying to come across as like this down-home Louisiana girl, like it misses the mark completely.
Do you worry that by speaking your truth, that it will harm your relationships?
Well, nobody ever really considered me, but
It's a yes or no question. Do you worry that by speaking your truth, it will harm your relationships? The answer to that question should have been yes or no. But she had to get a dig in. Well, nobody ever considered me. What's the fake laugh about, girl? Like, even just look at her face. Like, you can just tell, like, she just needed to get that dig in. Nobody ever considered me. And I think she's talking to Lynn Spears here, too. Because I have a feeling that Lynn Spears is most likely being pulled in a few directions right now behind the scenes. So it's like, you know, Brittany's probably like, why are you taking up for this psychopath? And Jamie Lynn is probably like, well, nobody ever thought about my feelings. And so it's like, just look at her. Look at her. She's like, haha, I got that dig in. She just wants to hurt people. I do think that she feels in her little wrong opinion, nobody ever thought about her. I do think she thinks that. And to be honest, lots of little sisters of famous people feel this way, or kids of famous people feel that way. And it's not even invalid for her to feel that way. It's just like, that's not the answer to the question, you entitled brat. Shut up. Do you feel that speaking out is going to hurt your relationships? That's the question. Nobody ever considered me. Okay, but that what? Like, so will it? Like,
I think that everyone is allowed to say their truth.
When news of her pregnancy broke in 2007, it created a media feeding.
But that does not answer the question. Do you fear that it will affect your relationships? And her answer is, nobody ever thinks about me and I'm allowed to tell my truth. Okay, you defensive jerk.
Jamie Lynn facing the same heated circus that followed her famous sister Brittany's every move.
Not the same. Let's not get carried away, Juju. Nowhere near the same. Jamie Lynn Spears had like 6 months of heat. I mean, maybe. Britney Spears has never, ever, ever stopped being treated that way in the media, even today. You don't see any sob stories about Britney Spears getting played across the media where she gets to tell her truth, do you? Or a bunch of robots on Twitter come out and turn everybody against it. SlavePrincess.com.
Why are you here other than to shame me and to benefit off of a young girl who's going through something already so traumatic and so deep and personal? But now you're going to put me on a magazine cover and call me a slut for it.
She didn't have no problem being on a magazine cover when she was getting paid $1 million, though, did she? Oh.
It just really, it's so unacceptable. We say we do better, but now we just go into the comments on Instagram and do it.
Y'all remember Jamie Lynn Spears got popped having a fake Instagram account that followed all of us? JL77777.
Jamie Lynn claims her family and management team sent her away to a remote cabin.
I don't want anything to do with her or Lou Taylor. I see why they're so close now. They are the same.
Somewhere in the snowy Northeast to avoid the media. No phone, no contact with the...
Oh, for a couple weeks, Jamie Lynn didn't have a phone? Oh, how did she make it through?
I know. She better consult me. She's an expert at it. She hasn't had one in 13 years.
Jamie Lynn didn't have a phone in Connecticut in a private cabin.
outside world for weeks.
What was I going to do? I was a kid, and maybe this isn't my best interest, and maybe this is what I'm supposed to do, because of course I don't want to be, hounded by the paparazzi. But
this is another thing I noticed from her book. She has all this sympathy for her own self, and she wants everybody to feel sorry for her and understand where she's coming from, but she doesn't extend it to Brittany. I felt so isolated in that cabin, and of course I wanted to stay there because paparazzi wasn't following me there, but I was alone and I didn't have a smartphone and it was snowing outside. But then whenever Britney started hiding away in her house, in her bathroom, and not want to deal with these psychopaths, all of a sudden it was Britney started acting erratically and paranoid. But like, she acts just like her dad. Just like him.
Jamie Lynn also said,
again, showing all these good, nice young pictures of Jamie. I mean, listen, that man's never taken a good picture. But comparatively to what he looks like now, it's just all a big media narrative. They're not showing you what this man looks like right now. This is a picture from like 2003 of, won't you show him what he really looks like right now at the gas station in Kentwood? All 116 pounds of him.
for alcoholism in 2004.
You wrote in the book, he spent most of my life in that cycle of ruinous behavior. His bouts of drinking always caused me periods of torment and sorrow.
It was
He
created
seems like
a
a
lot
terror.
of anxiety of the not knowing what I was going to get, and also feeling like I didn't have anybody there to just cut it out until it could be
The
consistent.
sad part is she has to play these country roles these days because she cannot code switch out of this accent.
First off, I think that experiencing my own panic attacks and how sometimes we can feel in those moments is important, but also it's important to remember that I was a kid.
All of us got panic attacks. Not one of us tried to transfer $600 million, allegedly.
In the book, you describe an incident where Brittany takes a knife, says she's scared, and locks you and herself into a room. Why did you want to include that in the book?
Brittany has come out and said that is a lie, and you are scum for putting it in the book.
Because first off, I think that experiencing my own
And again, like, I'm one of the most famous people in the world, and I'm scared for my safety. Little sister, I'm scared for your safety. Let's go in this room, lock the door, and take a weapon. I mean, would I do that? No, but I'm not famous.
How do you see your sister's state of mind currently?
I can't really speak to anyone else's state of mind. I don't think
But
that's
you spoke to it in the book when you called her erratic no fewer than 10 times, you mean jerk person. That's a coached lawyer answer. I can't speak to anyone's state of mind, but I'm allowed to say what I thought, because what? Opinions ain't defamation. I think they're still trying to make Brittany look crazy, yes. They're gearing up for the legal battles that are coming, and I think Jamie Lynn knows she's getting sued.
fair, but I'm allowed to say how I felt in those because that matters. It matters that I was in pain. It matters. It doesn't matter.
Does it really matter that you were in pain? Because I don't give a shit. Do you care that Jamie Lynn was in pain? Does it matter to you?
To me, I can't lie, not really know.
So
She did to Brittany, it's like, I don't really need to know how we got here. You just became an abusive part of an abusive system, and it's just kind of like you got to be eradicated.
I guess your feelings actually don't matter, Jamie Lynn, so you're wrong again.
Jamie Spears' legal control over Britney's personal, professional, and financial affairs. The conservatorship was initially seen by some as a stabilizing force in her life.
The ones who were stealing them.
Britney released 4 albums.
Now they're trying to say, look how good the conservatorship was. She was able to perform 250 shows. That is called human trafficking, Juju.
And performed nearly 250 shows in her Las Vegas
She was
residency.
forced to perform against her will. And they're sitting here propping it up like, look, America, look how good the conservatorship was. Don't you remember going to these concerts, America?
While dad Jamie was conservator, Jamie Lynn says father and daughter tried to stay sober together.
You describe the fact that your father in the conservatorship was taking sobriety tests alongside Brittany as part of that.
I just probably selfishly looked at it as like,
What she's leaving out is they were scheduled around Jamie's drinking. And for Brittany, they were random. She had no idea when she was going to be getting tested. And guess what? She never failed one drug test. Never. In the whole time of the conservatorship. Never.
everybody's sober right now. Like, I don't have to be anxious for the first time, you know? Like, there's actual people making sure everybody's on the right.
Aww. Jamie Lynn Spears' happiness depends on her sister's life choices. Imagine the pressure Brittany felt.
Right track, and I didn't have to worry what I was walking into.
How would you describe your relationship with him now?
It's a real time, real life. Like, it's messy, and I'm working through it. I have good days and bad days, and I think the relationship stands is that he's still my father, and I have to acknowledge that in a responsible way.
You don't have to acknowledge anybody as anything in a responsible way.
Last summer, at the height of the Free Britney movement, Britney spoke out in court
Last
against
summer, whenever that surprise witness was exposing the ever-living crap out of Jamie Lynn Spears and her attempts to move Britney's trust money.
against the conservatorship, calling it abusive and overly controlling. And she wanted to sue her family, lashing out at her father in
Listen to this language. Lashing out.
lashing out at
Like a completely justified thing to do after he literally imprisoned you.
lashing out at her father in particular, saying he should be put in jail.
He should be.
Jamie Spears and his attorneys have consistently claimed that everything was done under the authority of the conservatorship
It was. They let him break the law.
and with Britney's best interests in mind.
Do you agree with her assessment that your father was out of line?
Honestly, I just believe that if my sister wanted to be out of the conservatorship,
This girl cannot answer a question. Was the conservatorship out of line? Yes or no? Now she's victim blaming the only person who did try to get a lawyer, whose rights were violated, who was not allowed to have any meaningful representation. She's victim blaming Britney. Was your dad out of line in the conservatorship? Well, if Britney wanted to get out of it and she would have done it.
then there should, that conversation should be had, and she should be able to facilitate that.
She should be.
Britney's conservatorship lasted for 13 years before it was officially
Oh, look at us
terminated
up
by a
there.
judge in November.
What
was
was
such
your
a happy day.
reaction when the conservatorship was dissolved?
When it was dissolved, I was happy. I think that for me, if that's what makes
I was happy. I mean, I'm not a body language expert. Go check out the body language people, but I was happy. I don't think you were.
Britney and everyone else happy, that's what should happen. And that's all it is. It has so very little to actually do.
I said it before, I'll say it again. All this is just lanyap. What she should say is Britney never needed a conservatorship. She never needed one. Not today. Not then. I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. Buy my book. That's what she should have said.
First time that she even tried to give Britney the resources she needed to end the conservatorship.
No, you didn't. All you had to do was file a petition to terminate. It would have been about 1 page long.
I've always been my sister's biggest supporter.
Supporter of what? Supporter of conservatorships? Mimi. Watch my last video if you want Mimi's commentary on this conservatorship.
So when she needed help, I set up ways to do so. Went out of my way to make sure that she had the contacts she needed to
This is Lou Taylor. This is Lou Taylor. You could have put Lou Taylor in this chair.
had the contacts she needed to possibly go ahead and end this conservatorship. But how many times can I take the steps without she has to walk through the door?
When she's grinning, she has to walk through the door. Look at this infamous night where Britney was so mad. She has said things about this. She hated that. And look at Robin Greenhill with her mouth wide open, popping gum.
Damn, they're the ones who funded this. Shouldn't they have edited that out? God. They probably sent them these pictures.
Robin Greenhill is a pill.
There's been speculation of a rift. Many of Britney's fans attacking Jamie Lynn online, noting that Britney unfollowed her on Instagram. Britney also posting last July about her sister's tribute performance at the 2017 Radio Disney Awards, writing, "I don't like that my sister showed up at an awards show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply."
Honestly, it was somewhat confusing to me about that, and I actually have spoke to her about that. And I was doing a tribute to honor my sister and all the amazing things that she's done.
You were singing Britney songs because nobody gives a crap about anything. Any girl will die for you.
Any girl would
Songwriter and mother.
Your flop songs.
You've cleared that up with her?
I have cleared up with the fact that I don't think she's personally upset with me about that.
Lou.
Jamie Lynn says
That's
their
Lou.
relationship came to a head during the pandemic. She writes that Britney came at me screaming and getting up in my face while she was holding her tongue.
Well, looks like it might run in a family because you chased after somebody with a knife. And your daddy has restraining orders against him for his 2 grandchildren. I have not seen you writing about that in the book yet, but I'm only halfway through, so maybe you'll bring it up.
She cursed at me, and so I just walked out of the room. I was like, we're just all family under one roof. Like, I'm not trying to argue. And when I tried to remove myself from the situation, that's
She shouldn't have done this interview. That suit's awful. Her attitude's awful. Her hair's awful. Her words are awful. And she's lying. Jamie Spears is just an unfortunate looking person. And it's because he's so ugly on the inside. It just, when you're ugly on the inside, it just comes out and looks on your face ugly.
I shouldn't be upset. Like, I can't upset Brittany. I said, you just saw me and my children be upset. When will I matter?
Never, because all you are is a liar and a thief. You don't matter. Zoe 101 was cool, but anybody could have played that part. I could have done it. Jake could have done it.
I could have done it.
We would have done probably better, honestly. We'd have been,
Despite their complicated relationship, Jamie Lynn says while the world idolized her big sister, Brittany, who's 10 years older, was like a second mother to her.
So I feel like she was like I love her that much, and to have, you know.
It does bring me some weird satisfaction just looking at her be this uncomfortable.
So I feel like she was like I love her that much, and to have, you know.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do?
I love her that much, and to have,
you could do so you
have, you know. It's just
you want him to do you so much you could do anything.
It's just so innocent to love your siblings, and especially me, because I loved her like she was my mama, you know?
What happened
Loved.
to that love?
She just said, I loved her. Past tense. Then Juju says, what happened to that love? She's about to say it's still there. Then why'd you say loved? You should have said, I love her.
That love is still there, 100%. I love my sister.
My sister.
I've only ever loved and supported her and done what's right by her. And she knows that. So I don't know why we're in this position right now.
She don't know why they're in that position right now. Well, everybody else knows why. So it's pretty stupid on your part if you can't figure it out. Okay, thank God we're done with that. Okay, let's just go to the next one.